He gave me a sealed bottle of cold water. I felt huge relief as I drank it. I was still a bit worried. What if something was wrong with it? But the seal was fine and I was too thirsty to care. "Where are you going?" he asked. "There's a temple 10 kilometers ahead," I answered. "I'll take you," he said. I stared at him in doubt, not knowing what to do. Then I looked at his scooter's plate number. There's something about numbers to me. Certain ones carry spiritual significance and often felt like signs of guidance. As I've said before, I don't base all my actions on logic. Most of what I do is guided by intuition and emotion. When I saw his license plate, it included numbers I've long associated with a kind of positive meaning, but in that moment I chose to believe it was divine intervention, not coincidence. Still, only 50% convinced of my safety, I climbed onto his scooter. The ride terrified me for multiple reasons. I've always been afraid of motorcycle, and usually when riding behind someone, I'd hold that person tight to my body, press close for security. But this was a stranger. I couldn't bring myself to touch him, so I sat nervously on the back, leaving a huge gap between us as I held onto just the rear handle as we speed down the highway. During those 10 kilometers to the temple, we couldn't talk over the engine noise and wind. My backpack sat at his feet and I focused on not falling off while maintaining my distance. At the temple, I climbed down to thank him. "Take my number," he said, "in case you need help." I agreed, but had no intention of calling. Then something extraordinary happened. As he dictated his phone number, I heard him say 333 in a row while I typed. My phone's contact suggestion began appearing, narrowing down to similar numbers. When he almost finished dictating, only one contact remained visible, a reliable public figure from a political party I'd met just days earlier. At that exact moment, he said, "I work for this political party." I was in awe when I looked to my phone screen to his face. "Do you know this person?" I asked, showing him the name. He pulled out his phone, scrolled down the same contact. "I work with her. That's why our numbers are so similar, just one digit different." The universe had just delivered an unmistakable message. This was no coincidence. This man has been placed on my path by a miracle. The fear disappeared and I started to feel amazed. When he suggested getting something to drink at the restaurant 10 kilometers away, I said yes. We rode to that mall complex where he bought me a cold milkshake, refusing my money. When I mentioned I was walking to Vrindavan 100 kilometers away, his eyes widened. "You can't walk that. There's only highway, no service road, nowhere safe to walk. I'll drop you there," he said. And so a stranger became my guardian angel, driving me 150 kilometers away to the holy city of Vrindavan. My phone and external batteries died from overcharging in the heat and constantly jostling. I couldn't document the journey, couldn't call for help if I needed. I was truly alone except for this stranger who had become my protector. He stopped twice during the journey, once for water and once just before Vrindavan to buy me fresh mandarins. When we reached the city, he drove me to its center, dropped me, turned around and disappeared. No fanfare, no request for gratitude, just quiet kindness and departure. In Vrindavan, the city where Krishna played as a child, I expected to find easy sanctuary. Instead, I found my first harsh lesson about religious hypocrisy. Temple after temple turned me away. At first, they were not just fully booked, they were actively rude, treating me like an unwelcome intruder. When I sat on a bench to gather my thoughts, temple officials came to shoo me away, claiming monkeys might steal my belongings. The irony was crushing. In these most sacred cities devoted to God of love and compassion, I found closed doors and cold hearts. A second Hindu temple delivered the same rejection. Exhausted and disheartened, I sat in a street consulting my phone's map when someone suggested I should try Gurdwara, the Sikh temple. The taxi drove me at the Gurdwara as the sun began to set. Inside, men sat cross-legged on the floor, sharing a simple meal. The person in charge spoke no English, so I called a friend to talk to him to request if I can stay there. Yes, he said, 600 rupees per night.
This is the Gurdwara.
I paid gratefully and I was shown to the simple room. After settling in, I joined the communal dinner, basic food served with genuine warmth, though I sensed the Gurdwara wasn't financially thriving. In Hindu-dominated Vrindavan, the Sikh community probably received few visitors.
These are all my stuff. Yeah. This is, I think, Guru Namak. As you can see, the room is very, very, very simple. There's a mirror here. This is the bed. Yesterday night there were a lot of lizards on the walls.
The next morning brought a moment that still touches me today. After breakfast, an English-speaking member of the Gurdwara, along with the person in charge, approached me. "Please take your money back," he said. "We are not here to do business. We exist to help people. Please stay as our guest." Whatever they kept, a small amount for expenses, I don't remember. What mattered was their generosity, proof that I was divinely guided to find God's people on this journey. I spent a few days exploring Vrindavan, avoiding the aggressive monkeys that seemed to run the street. Even though my arrival had been rough, the city was fascinating. There were temples everywhere and the whole place felt full of devotion. During this time, I called my friend Vivek, who lives near Lucknow, but now was working in South India. As I explained my plan to reach Calcutta, he suggested I visit Lucknow since it was on my route. "I don't know anyone there," I said. To which he responded, "Don't worry, I have friends who will help you. I'll arrange everything." He contacted a friend who lived with his mother, securing permission for me to stay with them. Plans seemed to be falling into place. I forgot to mention that upon reaching Vrindavan by scooter and saw that walking wasn't realistic given my level of preparation, I decided not to walk but to continue the journey using modern means of transportation. On departure day, I packed my bags and headed to Vrindavan bus station. At the shop, I bought biscuits and snacks for the long journey ahead. As I waited for the bus, monkeys attacked my food bag. I fought back, literally wrestling with a monkey, but they made off with half of my biscuits, leaving me with a torn bag and a story to tell for years. The bus journey to Lucknow took many hours. 2 hours before arrival at 8 p.m., my phone buzzed with a message from Vivek that made me freeze. My friend changed his mind. He's worried what neighbors will say about a single girl staying there. "You can't stay at his place." Panic set in. I'd arrived in Lucknow at 10 p.m. with nowhere to go in a city where I knew no one. "Don't panic," Vivek messaged, his characteristic calm reaching through the phone. "I'm figuring something out." 20 minutes later, he messaged, change of plans. You are going to Barabanki, 30 kilometers away from Lucknow, to my family home. My sister-in-law Ruchi will take care of you. You'll stay in my and my wife's room since we're not there. My friends will pick you up from the Lucknow bus station. In my moment of greatest vulnerability, this wonderful friend I've met online was opening his home to me through his family. The gesture overwhelmed me with gratitude. At Barbanki, I first saw Ruchi waving from the balcony of a beautiful house. My shyness disappeared at the moment we met. She was friendly, warm, nice, and easy to talk to, and genuinely kind. She gave me Vivek and his wife's room beautifully decorated with air conditioning. But the real gift was Ruchi herself. The next morning, I woke up to an incredible breakfast. Ruchi is a gifted cook, but more importantly, a gifted human being. Every meal was a masterpiece of flavor and love. As we shared meals, we shared our stories. Her husband worked while she cared for their 2-year-old baby, and somehow she made caring for a complete stranger, me, seem effortless. One of the evenings, we visited a local temple.
Let's make a short video.
For several days, I experienced the profound comfort of being genuinely cared for by someone who owed me nothing. After several days, Ruchi mentioned of a wedding in a small village in Gonda district. Would you like to come? She asked. But there's no air conditioning. No problem, I replied, excited to experience an authentic rural Indian wedding. Know that different regions of India have distinct traditions, languages, cuisines, and wedding customs. I crave this cultural immersion. There's one issue, Ruchi said. You only wear white, but you can't wear white to a wedding. You'll need a colorful sari. I didn't own a single colorful garment, having committed to wearing only white during my spiritual journey. Ruchi solved this immediately. She gave me one of her saris, plush jewelry, and everything I needed. We packed for the village, preparing to enter a world I never imagined.